EMA, which stands for Electronic Matlab Medical Assistant, is a program which keeps track of an individual's health and provides the relevant information for illnesses and their treatment. Let me walk you through it to see for yourself. Upon load up, the user is asked to enter their name. EMA uses this name to run the program customized to the user, as you'll see later on. After logging in, the menu screen on the left allows for three main operations. Diagnose Me is for a user who's currently sick. They are first prompted to briefly describe what they're experiencing, then based on their description, EMA asks questions to follow up on other possible symptoms they may have. This information allows EMA to find the closest match in her database to the symptoms the user is subjected to. With it, information about the causes and symptoms are provided, as well as how to treat the illness. There's also a tab that shows other potential matches if they don't think the one they were diagnosed with is what they have. By clicking on the second option on the left, the user can find an index of all the illnesses stored in EMA's database. The user has an option of saving the selected illness to their history, which is accessible in the menu. This is where the login comes into play. Here is a record of all the saved illnesses under the name of this particular user. They can edit the duration of time they were sick. They can also edit the treatment they used while sick, and the changes can be saved for future use, or deleted completely from their history. The idea for EMA was sparked by the global pandemic, COVID-19. It fostered a desire in me to focus my efforts on a medical application. I thought of the robots built in many movies with the purpose to protect or look after us. It were these movies which inspired me to create EMA. I drew up checkpoints for the project and set goals for completion dates to make sure that I was on schedule. I split the project into three main categories, each representing a member of the menu. Before I could begin working on any of these tasks, however, I had to build a database of information. I made two types of data. The first was text data. India Times was a fantastic website that had information about all kinds of common diseases. I stored this information in a structure so that I could easily access its contents. And the second data type I used was similar to binary data. I made a matrix with columns representing the illnesses and rows representing the symptoms. The ones signified true for the symptoms that are present in the illness, and the zeros signified false. I added a special 2 if the symptom was most predominant to the illness. With this database, I was ready to start my first task, the diagnosis. This component is composed of functions, mainly consisting of loops and if statements. The symptom inputted by the user is passed through a series of string manipulations so that I can find a keyword and equate it to a symptom. The program finds which column of the binary data matrix contain the symptom and creates a new matrix for all of the possible matches. One by one, a question is displayed for a symptom that an illness in the matrix contains. Answers are stored, and only if the user denied the predominant symptom will the illness be removed from the matrix. Once only one illness remains, or after 20 questions have been asked, the loop ends, and results are calculated by comparing answers to the data. The information component of the menu proved to be less of a problem-solving task as it was a copy and paste one. The amount of code increased massively in this step, and yet I'm much more proud of the precise and clever coding done in the other sections, like the history. For my history, I had to come up with a way to save the data used in the table. To do this, I had the user input their name. This name could then be used to create a new file after their name. Every time the table data is altered, the new data is read into this file. Upon login, this file will be loaded if the name matches with the file name. Quite often, I would get ideas to improve the program while working, and I would research different MATLAB documentation to see whether the idea was possible. For example, I started with the intention that all user interaction would be done in the Matlab command window. However, I discovered that the coding for creating panels and visual components were all similar to that of creating a graph. At the same time, the switch was one of the many times I had to readjust my time, since I knew it would be more time consuming than I initially predicted. It took me a long while to figure out how to take the functions I already made and convert them to a usable visual component. The answer was the use of what is called a function callback. This allowed my function to be ran when a user interacts with the visual component. In the end, the adjustments and research was well worth the results. They were what brought my ideas to life.